Hi, welcome to Story Time with Grandma Sparkle. Come on in and sit down. It's so nice to see you in my home again. Wow. Well, let's all sit down together, together, together. Let's all sit down together for our story time. From my house to your house and your house to my house. Let's all sit down together for our story time. Wow, do I look different today? I sure do. I look a little different. Grandma Sparkle looks different today. Because we're celebrating Thanksgiving, I decided to try to dress a little bit like the Native American Indians. It's fun and I have a lot of things to share with you. I don't know if I'll be able to share I won't be able to share everything that I want to about Native Americans. But before we do that, let's sing our special song. I am special, I am special. Look at me, you will see. A very special person, a very special person. That is me, that is me. We all share and take turns and take turns and take turns. We all share and take turns to let our love shine. We say nice things to others, to others, to others. We say nice things to others to let our love shine. Just remember that, boys and girls, and especially here at Thanksgiving, you can be a big help to your mom and your friends and your family on Thanksgiving Day. Remember, be nice to someone today. All right. Well, I'm going to put my glasses on. And come to think of it, long time ago, when the Pilgrims came to America and when the Indians lived here, the Indians were the first ones here, did they have glasses? No. I don't know what they did when they couldn't see very well, but they didn't have glasses, but I have to put my glasses on. All right, let's talk about the Thanksgiving. The very first Thanksgiving, some people called Pilgrims lived in England, and they said the king made them go to a certain church, and they had no freedom of speech. So they said, let's go across the waters and the ocean and go to the new country called America. And so they got on a big ship called the Mayflower. Here's what it looked like. And it was took many, many, many days to cross the ocean. Some people got very sick, some people died, but when they landed on the land, there were the people that lived in America, and that was the Native Americans, Indians. And they were the first people here in our country. Now, I have some dolls that I've collected, and today, this is a little pilgrim, a girl or mother. Does she dress like your mother does? No, she doesn't. She had to always wear a white hat, and her clothes, long sleeves, and always wore an apron, and she has a baby with her, or a doll. And does this look like your dad? Does your dad dress like that with that kind of a hat? Oh my goodness. He's got a cape on, and that's what they looked like when they were called pilgrims. So they came to America and they landed. Were there houses here? No. Were there roads? No. There were no houses, no stores. And so they had to build their own house, and it was getting to be winter time, and they had to hurry and cut down the trees and make their houses out of logs. Well, they didn't have time to plant a garden. And guess who helped them eat? Guess who brought them food? That's right, the Indians. the Native Americans came and they fed them all winter with deer and buffalo and brought them all kinds of meats and everything that they could think of to help them. So the Pilgrims were so happy. So in November, long time ago, they said, well, we must find a way to thank the Indians. So let's have a big party. Let's have a big dinner. And so the Native American Indians said, yes, we would like to come. So they said, okay, you bring the deer and the buffalo, and we will bring potatoes and some vegetables, and we will thank God for living in this country and having such wonderful friends. So that's what they did. They set up big tables, and the Indians brought the deer and the buffalo meat, and the Pilgrims shot turkeys too. And they had turkey, and they had potatoes, and sweet potatoes, and corn, and all kinds of things that they loved. And they all ate together, and they were all friendly and friends. And that was the very first Thanksgiving. Now, the Native Americans taught the Pilgrims how to plant corn. They'd never seen corn before or tasted corn before. And then the Pilgrims taught them how to plant potatoes. So each one of them helped each other. Oh my, it was a wonderful Thanksgiving. And so you're going to have a nice Thanksgiving, I'm sure, this week. And I bet you'll have turkey. Yes. Well, now I'm going to talk about the Native Americans, and I brought a lot of my dolls and pictures and things to show you so we can learn a little bit about the Native American Indians, the first people that lived in the United States. Let's look at this. Do you know what this is? No, this is a dream catcher. And they would make this dream catcher, the Indians would make this dream catcher, and they would hang it over the children's beds. And you know why? To protect them. And so that when they were sleeping, the bad dreams would be caught in the net here. And the good dreams would go through. And that's what they hung over their net. It was called the dream catchers. Look at all the things, the feathers, the beads, all of these different things meant something special. And see how they painted? They would paint figures on things like buffalo and wolves and horses. They loved nature, and they loved all the animals. Even though they had to kill them to live, they would not kill an animal unless they were hungry. Now, let's talk about what they wore. Here is an Indian girl, and she wore a leather dress with fringe on it. And she wore flowers. She sometimes would wear paint on her face. And she has her hair in braids. And they made lots of beads. They would cover themselves, their clothes and things with beads. And isn't she beautiful? Her dress is made of deer skin. And the men, they all wore different things too. They wore long leggings made out of deer skin, pants, or they wore just a piece of cloth on the front and the back, and they would go bare-chested. Let's see if I can find a picture. Here's a little boy. See, they just wore a piece of deer skin in front and in back. Now, what did they live in? Where did they live? Well, there's different Indians. There's the Navajo Indians, there's the Alaska Indians, and there's Prairie Indians. And that's what I'm going to talk about, is the Plain Indians. They call it the plains, like the desert. And we're going to talk about that more so because they lived in teepees. Yes, and they were like a tent. Yes. They would take sticks and they would build the inside with the sticks, and then they would put the deer skin over the sticks, and that would be their home. And when they wanted to move, because they moved a lot, they would just close it up and put it on their horses, or move to someplace else. They were just like a tent, just like when you go camping. They did mostly live in teepees, the Plain Indians did. And some of the other Indians would build wooden stick houses. So what did the women do? The women worked very, very hard. Yes, they did almost all the work. They cooked, they washed the clothes, and did they have a washing machine? No, they had to go down to the river and wash. They would the children worked hard too. They would gather the sticks for the fire. They would go out and they would even hunt. And so they worked all the time. And here's a picture of a little boy who went hunting. And he took his bow and arrow, and he would look for squirrel and rabbit. And he was not very old. He was probably they probably started hunting around 8 years old. And here he came home with a rabbit. Yes, he brought home his mother's a rabbit, and Mother was so proud of him and so happy. So, and this is what he carried his arrows in. And he had a bow. See the bow and the arrow? And he would make his own bow and arrow, and he used arrowheads for the tip. And they had all sizes for different animals. Like this one would be for a smaller animal, maybe a rabbit, and maybe this one would be more for a deer. And then they had bigger ones for buffalo, and they made them themselves. They took rock and they chipped at it until it became an arrow and tied it to a stick, and that was their arrow. And they made their bows from the wood on the tree. There he is. Let's sing a little song about him. I'm a little Indian on the go. Here is my arrow, here is my bow. When I go a-hunting, hear me shout. Bears and buffalo, better watch out. Yes. Would you like to try it? Let's try it. I'm a little Indian on the go. Here is my arrow, here is my bow. When I go a-hunting, hear me shout. Bears and buffalo, better watch out. Yes, so what did they hunt? They hunted all kinds of animals. Why did they hunt animals? That's right, they didn't have a store to go to. The men had to take care of the family by getting all the meat, even the little boys. So they would go out, they would kill a buffalo. A buffalo would be, it's a big, we had a buffalo here, and the buffalo is really big, and it would feed a lot of the village, the tribe. So they always wanted to get lots of buffalo. And so that means that they would always have a big dance, a powwow. It's like a powwow. They would have a big dance. They'd build a fire, and then they would dance around the fire and do the buffalo dance and ask God to send them lots of buffalo for the winter. Okay, so the men also, they were warriors. They were proud to hunt, and they also would have fights with other tribes and protect their villages. And I have some things here to show you, like, oh, now this is a rattler. See? And you know what that's made out of? Yes, it's made out of a turtle shell. Yes, they didn't kill the turtle. They probably found a turtle that had been dead, and they take the shell, they put beads and rocks in it, and then they put a handle on it and put some beads on it. And then when they were dancing, they would shake it. So one of them would shake it. In fact, oh, I don't think I have the one that's shaking, no. But here's a warrior getting ready to go to war. And see his spear? He's on his horse and he's got a spear. And look at his headdress. They always dressed up in feathers, all kinds of beautiful colored feathers and beads to dance with. And when they were going to go to war, they did that. They would always put face paint on, put some feathers on, grab their bows and arrows and their spears, and get on the horse to go to war. Now, here's another. No, I wonder what they'd do with that. I bet that they could make a hole in the ground for planting. And that's pretty sharp. I think that could hurt an animal or a person. So this is something that they made. Oh, here's a tomahawk. Whoa, look at the arrowhead they used. It was a big rock. It wasn't an arrowhead. It was a rock that they shaped into for a hatchet. Ooh. And then that could knock out an animal, couldn't it? And see how they used the stick? And they used the leather to tie on the rock. That was sharp. And they sharpened this so it was very, very sharp. It would go right through the animal. Or if they went to war, they would use it. Let's see if we have anything else here. Okay. Now, something else that they loved to do when they danced was beat the drums. Oh, they loved the drums, and they would have flutes. And here's a flute they made. Oh my. Their dances when they were celebrating, when they were having birthdays or something special, they got lots of corn that year. They would dress up in all these feathers and dance, hi, and jump up and down. Oh, I wish you could see them dance because they're wonderful. Now, I've gone to their dances, and they're called powwows, and they still have them. I'm going to show you a couple little pictures here. Here's a little boy that's dressed up for the powwow. And these are sort of small pictures, so let's hope you can see them. But see the different headdresses that they would wear? And the chief would wear the biggest headdress there was, made of all different feathers, and especially eagle feathers. Oh, they loved the eagle, and they worshiped the eagle, and they felt that he took his feathers, the eagle's feathers, that the eagle took their prayers up to heaven. Yes. And the girls, here's a couple of pictures of the women. They would dress up in their long dresses, and just like she is dressed, and she would dance. And they'll dance around the circle. They dance around the fire. And they especially dance when they are going to go hunt buffalo. I'm going to show you a picture here of buffalo. Here they are dancing. See how they're bending over and dancing? Ah, there's the buffalo. See the buffalo? Yes. And after they skin the buffalo, they make it into a rug and they sleep on it because the fur is nice and soft, and that's what they would sleep on. They didn't have beds, did they? No, they slept on the ground. Now here they are dancing. They're doing the buffalo dance. How do I know that? Because look, they have buffalo costumes on when their heads. In fact, I have a doll here I'll show you with the costume of the buffalo. Right here. Here's one of them. See, he's got his little buffalo hat on with the horns, and he's all ready to go to the powwow or to the dance for the buffalo dance. See? And this one, he's dressed for the buffalo dance. He has a different costume on. See? Now he's going to sit around the fire or get up and dance with his costume on. Dancing was a big thing for the Indians. If they wanted it to rain, they would dance and do the rain dance. If they wanted to thank God for the corn that grew, they'd have the corn dance. So they had some really great dances, and then they would beat the drums. So let's see if we got some drums here. A drum here I can show you. Whoa. Wow. Look at that. They made it out of a log. The middle was a log. They cut down a tree and they hollowed it out, and then they stretched skin across the top and skin across the bottom. And look what they put on it. They always put symbols on their teepees, on their drums, on their clothes. Bears, buffalo, deer, all kinds of animals. This one has a black bear. Yes. Now, if they caught a black bear and if they killed a black bear, they would have lots of meat for the winter. So let's beat the drum. If you had a pan at home, you could take your pan and beat it. So let's see what it sounds like. Boom, tum, 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 tum. Hear the tom, tom, steady beat. Whoa. You know what else they use this for besides with their dancing? To communicate. Now, the tribes might live far, far apart from each other. So, say that they were going to have a big festival. Oh, let's have a big festival and let's celebrate and let's invite some more people from other tribes to come. So they get on their drum. I don't know what they used, but they used it as a way of letting them know, and they would beat it in a certain way, like. And they go, oh, the other tribe would go, oh, did you hear that? They called us. They said they're having a festival. Let's go. So they used this for communication. They didn't have telephones, did they? No, they didn't have TVs, telephones, computers. No, but they had drums, and that's how they would communicate with each other. And since we're talking about communicating, another way that they communicated, they were the first ones to use sign language. They would use sign language with their fingers and talk to each other. They had their own language also, and they would have smoke signals. That would really carry a long way. They'd say, oh, we better let the tribes know that the buffalo are coming, and if they want some meat, they better come. They better go here, and here they are. See, they built a fire and took a blanket, and they would put the blanket down and then pull it up, and the smoke would go up. And see, it sent smoke signals, and they all knew what the signals meant. So that was another way they communicated. This shows them using sign language. And the way they would write, they didn't have typewriters or they didn't have computers. They would draw pictures on things to tell a story. Yes. Now, who was the head of this tribe or this village? There were different villages. They were called tribes. And they always had one person that was the leader, like ours is, the president. And they called them the chief, the Indian chief. He was a very brave man. Here's one picture of an Indian chief. The Indian chief got to wear the most feathers, and he got to wear the eagle feathers. Look at his beautiful headdress. Oh, yes, it is beautiful. He loved the feathers, and they would dye them different colors. And he was the head of the village, and he told the people the laws of the village, just like our government or our president tells us. So I have a story to read to you about a great chief. And his name was Sitting Bull. What is he riding? He's on a horse. How did they travel? By horse and canoe. I'll show you a canoe in a minute. But horses were very valuable to the Indian. They were like having a car. Like your mom and dad have to have a car. Well, they had to have a horse so they could go hunting, they could go to another village, they could go to war, they could go different places, they could pull the teepee and all the things. So this is about an Indian that was called Sitting Bull. He was the greatest Indian chief of all. Many people say it was Sitting Bull. Sitting Bull was a hunkapapa. You say it like this, hunk-pa-pa. His tribe lived in the great northern plains where they hunted buffalo. Well, when Sitting Bull was a boy, everyone called him Slow. It was the right name for him because he ate slowly, he moved slowly, he even talked slowly. But he was watching and learning all the time. Whoa, look at that. Whoa. When Slow was only 10 years old, he killed his first buffalo. Now he was a hunter. Imagine that, 10 years old. Look at, he has his bow and arrow, and he's going to kill the buffalo with his bow and arrow. But more than anything, Slow wanted to be a great warrior. And so one day, the Hunkpapas went to fight against the Crow. Now, that's the name of the tribes, the different tribes. Slow was only a boy, but he jumped on his pony and he galloped after the men. Wow. Look, he has his spear with him. Slow had no weapons, no bow and no arrows. I was wrong. It wasn't a spear, I guess. It was called a coop stick. You say it like this. Coo. But that was all he needed. Oh, that's what he was holding back here. A coop stick. See, it's got a hook on it. Yes. But that was all he needed. Striking an enemy with a coop stick was the bravest thing that a warrior could do. And when the men came near the crow, Slow raced ahead of everyone else. A crow warrior saw Slow coming, and the crow raised his bow and arrow to shoot. But Slow was quick, and he hit the warrior with his coop stick. He knocked the bow out of his hands, and he galloped away. That night, the Hunkapas sat together under the stars. "Now, Slow," said Slow's father to him, "you are a warrior." And he gave Slow a new name, a name full of power. And you know what that name was? If you study history, you'll hear it. Sitting Bull. Sitting Bull. Soon there were many stories about Sitting Bull. And one day he laid down under a tree, and above him a bird tapped on the branch. It seemed to tap a message. "Stay still, stay still." Suddenly, a grizzly bear stood over him. It was so close he could smell its hot breath, but he stayed very still like he thought the bird told him to. Sitting Bull, the bear lumbered off, and Sitting Bull thanked the little bird, and he said, "The bird people will be my friends forever." Once the warriors fought some of their enemies, only a little boy was left alive when they went went to war one time. And the little boy cried, "Help me, help me!" And Sitting Bull was sorry for him, and he let him live. And Sitting Bull said, "I will treat him like a brother." And he did. After a battle, Sitting Bull never rode away. He not until everyone else was safe. He would wait until everybody was safe before he left. No wonder his people made him their chief. No wonder he was the greatest chief that ever lived. Okay, wasn't that a good story about Sitting Bull? They all had names like from nature, like Moonbeam, the stars, buffalo, deer, quick deer, slow deer. Yeah, they always named their children after animals. Okay, now I think we've talked about most things. Oh, I know what I wanted to show you. Is they traveled by horse and they traveled by, don't pay attention to these bells. What is this? A canoe. Yes, they usually camped near a water, and they would either ride their horse or get in the canoe, or they walked. And that was their mode of travel. And they made the canoe a lot of times out of a tree, and they would dig out the middle of the tree and turn it into a canoe for the river. Okay, I think I've told you about most of the things. This, do you wonder what this is? This is called a cradle. And when the mothers would work, they worked hard, the Indian women. They cooked and they made pottery, they skinned the deers, they scraped the deer so it was nice, so it was smooth like this is. And while they were working, who was taking care of their babies? So what they would do is either they would put the baby on their back, and they put the baby on their back like a backpack. Or they would take the backpack and they would hang it on the tree, and the baby could watch the mother work. Yes. Now, and look what's above the cradle. Aha, the dream catcher. So she would have lots of good dreams. Oh, and this is nice and warm, and it's fur. They use fur and leather to make it. And Mom would put it on her back when they were walking down to wash clothes or walking from one place to another. Oh, well, I hope you learned something about Native Americans today. I've enjoyed telling you the story. Oh, here, I want to show you this one. This is the little boy, the eagle dance. The eagle dance was very, very important. They loved the eagle, and they would do the eagle dance. And look, he looks like an eagle. He made his hat of fur and his wings. See his wings? Yes, and he would do the eagle dance. Yes. And there's the eagle right there. And they would watch the eagle fly. The Indian children loved to watch the eagle fly. Okay. We didn't use the magic mirror today, but next time you come, we'll have the cane and the magic mirror. Tell everybody to watch Grandma Sparkle, Story Time with Grandma Sparkle, okay? Now it is time to say goodbye, say goodbye, say goodbye. Now it's time to say goodbye until another day. Bye.